Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I'm here with a layout share for January 2023. And just getting started with the thumbnail and artwork from, I think, all of, if not the majority of, the hops that I did this month. I think maybe only one of them is missing. So I am super blessed to have been a part of so many awesome, amazing groups of creators and crafters. So here they are. I did create a layout every day. I believe there was a video every day this month, and almost every one of these has a video with it. A couple may be like a second page that I didn't do on camera, but shared. And there are a few that I did not do on camera that were for a design team for scrapbooking the day away. I'm just going to go through them all and kind of talk about what they're from. This is a Baby Got Scraps. And they're going to kind of go fast because I moved it up. This is also Baby Got Scraps from earlier in the month. There is a video with this one as well as the birthday one. I am also doing a New Year Old Stash, which is a little series that I was doing for myself this month, attempting to get rid of use up some of the old stash that I have in my collection that I've had for 20 plus years in some cases. So this is another Baby Got Scraps and New Year Old Stash. And this right here is a design team layout for Scrapbooking the Day Away, which is Scrapbookingwithannmarie.con. And I am on the design team and love her sketches. I enjoy working with them and just sharing different things. And I use scraps on here as well, so that made it even better. This is a layout for Baby Got Scraps, just using up some of the Amy Tan. This I did not do a video for. It was just extra branding strips from the Amy Tan Brave and Bold collection that I wanted to use up. And then here is the end of my Brave and Bold scraps. I just put them in size wise and made it look like a big tall cake and documented my birthday. This is May I Scrap Lift You, as well as Baby Got Scraps, and I scrap lifted Mel with Mel W Scrapping. She is my friend. She gave me the idea and I ran with it. This right here is a Scrap Lift Crafternoon where we scrap lifted a card, and I love the way this turned out. I got to pick the card. It was a whole lot of fun. There's definitely a video for that always airs on Sundays, and there are 4 to 7 of us who follow along every week and create. We find a layout, and obviously in this case a card that inspires us, and then try and do our own thing with it. Usually we stick pretty close to what the original is, but sometimes we go a little crazy. This is Mix It Up Monday. I love the way that layout turned out. This is celebrating my friend Christine, who also does Scrap Lift Crafternoon, and I was using up scraps. So this is Baby Got Scraps, as well as her celebratory hot for 1,000 subscribers. I used up the rest of my Chamel stash and paper pad. Yay, and tons of scraps, which made me super happy. Got some flair on there from the Flair Hut and some mixed media. This is Baby Got Scraps and New Year Old Stash, just documenting some pictures of my kids with their cousins, and used up some really old stash. This is my design team layout for the Flair Hut. We had a challenge to create a cover page, which I've never done before. And so this is my cover page for my 2017 album, which is what I'll be using, which is what I'm working on right now. And I used all of my epoxy Flair that I got in my Flair kit. And then this is a Baby Got Scraps and New Year Old Stash. That little church on there, big church honestly, is probably 20 plus years old, or at least 15. This is an Anne-Marie Bryant sketch again for Scrapbooking the Day Away. I love how this turned out, documenting voting this past year. This is a May I Scrap Lift You as well as Baby Got Scraps, and I scrap lifted my friend Tara, the paper snob, who also is on the Scrap Lift Crafternoon, and used a ton of scraps and a lot of old stash. Some of those baseball things are like lots of old stash. This is another Scrap Lift Crafternoon. Use my 49 and Market. I love this paper. I love that collection. And I did actually use scraps, so I did Baby Got Scraps for that. This is a Baby Got Scraps layout. This is also a Baby Got Scraps layout, and I got to use my Vicky Boot and paste because I was worried it was going to go bad before I got into it. So that is part of my goal for 2023 is to use more mixed media. So I did. This is all scraps. I had such a good time playing with this and tucking all these scraps in. And it is a New Year old stash as well. This is another design team layout for Scrapbooking the Day Away. And I used up a ton of my Bungalow Lane by Paige Evans washi tape and just used scraps of paper to washi and made my layers out of that, and I love the way it turned out. This is my creative team layout for Scrap a Sketch, Lisa Sikorsky sketches, and I picked this one to use, and of course I used all scraps, so I also did Baby Got Scraps with it. This is a new hop for this month, and it'll be a monthly hop. It's called Rainbow Magic, and this month we did yellow. I used a ton of old stash and a lot of scraps, so I got to do 3 hops at one time, or 2 hops in my series. This is also Baby Got Scraps, but it is also, nope, not Baby Got Scraps, you all. This is another new hop, and it is Mad About Mini Paper Pads, and I scrap lifted, so I did May I Scrap Lift You, and I scrap lifted my friend Anna, which is Peace Craft Love, who is also part of the Scrap Lift Crafternoon crew, and I had such a good time with the mixed media on that. This is a Scrap Lift Crafternoon where we actually scrap lifted one of our own, Isabel, which is Isabel Scraps. And I used more of my Bungalow Lane to create this layout and some Prima flowers. I had such a good time. It is not Scrap Lift or a Baby Got Scraps though. This, however, is a matching page to go with it because I used a ton of scraps and branding strips to document these Thanksgiving pictures that I had an awful lot of fun reliving. And then I used the rest of my Bungalow Lane scraps to create this layout. I still have some ephemera and alphas and words and stuff like that, but I used all the scraps and everything up. This is my second design team layout for the Flair Hut for January. And I also did Baby Got Scraps and New Year Old Stash. And documented a couple pictures of my dog. They are the same picture, but my printer was running out of ink. And so it kind of did this really cool effect. So I decided to use them both. This one is Off the Board with Pineapple Papers. And I also did Off the Board with Pineapple Papers, Baby Got Scraps, and I did not do my New Year Old Stash. It's a year and a half, almost 2 years old, I guess, if that counts. Buenos Dias collection was the very first collection I ever bought when I started using collections in 2021. Prior to that, I was a paper pad, loose paper kind of scrapbooker. So if you want to call a year and a half ago old, then I guess I could put this in my New Year Old Stash too. This is Christmas in January, which is a monthly hop that we have on the 25th where we document Christmas all year long. And I also did my New Year Old Stash because there's tons of stash there that is very old, and also Baby Got Scraps. This is obviously Baby Got Scraps because it's tons and tons of scraps from 2 different collections, a Simple Stories and an Echo Park. And I used tons of stash from that, as well as all the branding strips and a couple of cut-aparts that were left over. And I had such a good time. This ended up turning out just better than I could have hoped. This is another design team layout or sketch for Scrapbooking the Day Away with Anne-Marie, and that is one of her sketches. This was a layout picked by Sandy, which is State Goddess, for Mixed Media Mayhem, and I combined that with the Iron Chef challenge, or it's not Iron Chef, it's Iron Crafters Challenge, which is kind of loosely based off Iron Chef, where you get a ingredient to add to your meal that's a little different or not one you use all the time. It's the same concept, except it was a like something that you don't typically put on your page. So sequins and pearls and beads were the items that we could use, and I love the way that turned out. I use sequins and pearls. This is my Pink Fresh Friday, and I also did Baby Got Scraps because I used all scraps for that. This is just for Simple Stories Saturday. No scraps, no old stash. This is just one thing, but I also did my Courageously Crafting, Scrapbooking Through the Hard Stuff, documenting this picture of my grandmother. This is our final Scraplift Crafternoon for the month of January. We just did this past Sunday, where we scraplifted Sue Smith, and I love the way this turned out. I even stitched on it, which I don't normally do. And then this is, the last two are my Baby Got Scraps, and I'm using up my Good Stuff collection, trying to get all of the 2017 complete and using the good stuff with it. And so this is for the 31st, so this is for today, and I love the way these turned out. I love the papers. There's one that's a little off because it's full of peaches, but I found a way to work it out, and I will have a layout share of all the things that I created with my good stuff. I will probably have that up live either later today or in a couple of days. So I hope that you all will come back tomorrow for the 1st of February, because I will be starting the hop through Scrapping Reflections, which is Follow a Sketch February. And I will also be continuing pretty much everything you just saw, all of the hops that I participated in this month, other than obviously the celebration hop for Christine, which there is another one for someone else in February, so you will still see that kind of thing. So I am looking forward to it. It is going to be a lot of fun. I hope you all will come along. Please join in, comment, subscribe. I would love to talk to you all. I hope you all have a great day, and happy scrapping.